สวัสดีค่ะ
สวัสดีค่ะ
Good evening, you're watching Weekly News Thailand and greeting to those who are watching us from 177 countries around the world. I'm Sunida Sawattiphon-Phallop.
and I'm Suhatcha Sawattiphon-Phallop. You can also check out the rerun at www.tv5.co.th.
And now let's start with the first news. A meeting of ASEAN foreign ministers took place last week with a focus on the COVID-19 situation and how ASEAN countries can work together to fight the pandemic. The meeting also resolved to use ASEAN funds for research into the production of the COVID-19 vaccine. Usana Piranon, Director General of the Department of ASEAN Affairs, said the 53rd ASEAN Foreign Minister and related meeting, along with the post-ministerial conference, took place via teleconferencing from the 9th to the 12th of September. The meeting was attended by 26 countries along with the European Union. The main issue discussed was COVID-19. The meeting emphasized strong cooperation between all countries and assistance at both multilateral and global levels in order to overcome the crisis. The meeting resolved to ignore any international competition or conflicts until the pandemic was resolved. It discussed a plan to restore the economies of ASEAN member countries and changes to public health, business, education, society, and culture of each country. Countries needed to present their plans to the ASEAN Secretary General in November, when another general meeting will be held. The meeting resolved to draw from the ASEAN Fund to develop and produce a COVID-19 vaccine. If any country is successful in formulating a vaccine, it will send that knowledge to other member countries. The meeting discussed other issues such as the coronavirus situation in Myanmar Rakhine State, the South China Sea, and the Korean Peninsula. The ASEAN Foreign Minister meeting is held to build trust and to discuss international problems, including cooperation in security.
The Army Deputy Commander says the main goal of the country in fighting COVID-19 is to find infected people and ensure they do not spread the disease. General Nathapon Nakpanit, Army Deputy Commander and Deputy Head of the Center for COVID-19 Situation Administration, opened a workshop to develop and improve guidelines for the prevention and control of COVID-19. The workshop discussed management practices at central and provincial levels, as well as listening to suggestions from the Provincial Communicable Disease Committee and public health personnel. General Nathapon said Thailand was able to control the pandemic, and as a result, measures have been relaxed, such as the opening of various public places and facilities. This may lead to a high risk of further spread of the virus, since there are more people traveling in the country now. Overseas, many countries were experiencing high levels of infection, and thus Thailand had to prepare for a second wave of disease outbreaks that may occur in the future. There may be violence happening or damage to the economy and society, he said. He said the main objective was not to have zero cases in the country, but to be able to control those who are infected so that they do not spread the disease.
And the Center for COVID-19 Situation Administration say it's keeping an eye on the border with Myanmar to prevent another outbreak of COVID-19. At the same time, the Ministry of Public Health is preparing medication in the event of a second outbreak, as well as preparing one alternative quarantine facility per province to accommodate international travelers. Dr. Thuvisin Visnuyotin, spokesperson for the CCSA, said the situation is worrisome in Thailand because of the Thai-Burmese border. This had led to an order by the Ministry of the Interior for all governors of border provinces to increase surveillance to stop illegal crossings of people who do not screen for the virus. Main transportation routes as well as secondary routes need to be manned with checkpoints to block illegal migrants. The government is also paying special attention to foreign workers who are illegally smuggled into the country, making public relations announcements to villagers on the border and asking communities to help monitor the situation. Any villager who spots an illegal migrant should notify the local authorities or call the 24 hotline of 1567. And in other news, the Deputy Secretary General of the Food and Drug Administration has discussed a plan to distribute medical equipment and protective clothing to border areas to prevent a second outbreak. The administration has sent out 1.4 million protective clothing suits, nearly 2.5 million N95 masks, and 43 million medical masks. Another 9 factories have been added to the list of 45 factories making masks, and together they are producing 3.4 million masks per day, enough for the country's medical staff and the general population. As for medicine, there are 590,000 favipiravir pills able to be used before the expiry date next April, and there is no need to store any more as there are enough companies able to produce or import the drug. In Thailand, there are 2 companies that can deliver the drug within a week. The drug remdesivir is also in stock with 400 vials, which is 2 to 3 times more than would be needed if another outbreak occurs. Meanwhile, Dr. Witoon Anangul, director of the Emergency Health Division, said the general public had to understand that when the country opens up for tourism, there may be COVID-19 cases, but the Ministry of Health can handle the situation. Each province will have an alternative state quarantine for foreign visitors, and it will be paired with a private hospital. The Army and Air Force have both signed a memorandum of understanding to cooperate with research and development in medical innovation in the fields of security and helping victims of natural disasters. The signing took place at the Royal Thai Air Force Hospital belonging to the Air Force Medical Department. General Phompipat Benyasi, Army Commander-in-Chief, and Air Chief Marshal Manat Wongwat, Air Force Commander-in-Chief, signed the joint MOU on medical cooperation. General Phompipat said the purpose was to enable cooperation between the Army's Medical Service Department and the Air Force Medical Department, namely the Royal Thai Air Force Hospital. This is in the field of educational research and development, including training in medicine and public health, with a focus on the environmental and technology, and helping victims of emergencies. The Army commander, along with his team, visited various units of the hospital, including the COVID-19 patient care system, the use of robots to help patients, the dialysis center, and VIP examination rooms. And the Ministry of Foreign Affairs, along with King Mongkut Institute of Technology, are about to hand over mobile respirators to Laos to help the general population. The Department of America in South Pacific under the Ministry of Foreign Affairs joined with the Faculty of Medicine, King Mongkut's Institute of Technology Lat Krabang, to organize a lecture called Thailand Health and Medical Cooperation with Latin American countries. The lecture aimed to show the international community the success of King Mongkut Institute of Technology Lat Krabang in the manufacture of mobile ventilators. It's hoped the prototype will lead to alleviating shortages and reduce costs of importing medical equipment and the treatment of COVID-19 patients. King Mongkut Institute of Technology Lat Krabang states that it was determined to turn the crisis into the opportunity, and it intended to produce the ventilators for the good of the public, both domestically and internationally. The machines, known as K-2 ventilators, will be donated to the healthcare facilities in many countries, including Laos on September the 29th. Blueprints have been given to Chile and Peru for them to assemble themselves.
And now let's take a short break. Please stay tuned.
สถานีวิทยุโทรทัศน์กองทัพบกช่อง 5 ร่วมกับบริษัท Advanced Info Service จำกัดมหาชนกับโครงการช่วยเหลือเกษตรกรสู้ภัยโควิด -19 พบกับสินค้าเกษตรเกรดพรีเมียมทุกวันจันทร์ถึงศุกร์เวลา 11 นาฬิกาและเวลาบ่าย 3:05 นาทีสามารถสั่งซื้อผ่านทางแอปพลิเคชัน Olala Shopping เว็บไซต์ olalashopping.com และทาง LINE @olala shopping หรือ Call Center โทร 02-279-1255 โอลาล่าช้อปปิ้งสินค้าดีมีคุณภาพราคายุติธรรม
วันนี้เราจะไปเที่ยวไทยสไตล์ New Normal กับ Isuzu ครับแล้วเนี่ยนะIsuzuให้น้ำเพื่อชีวิตเนี่ยนะเขาเป็นโครงการที่แบบให้กับโรงเรียนผมได้ยินมาว่าเขาทำเป็นแบบหลายโรงเรียนมากแล้วนะ
อยากไปเที่ยวกับผมไหมล่ะ มาไปด้วยกันเร็ว และก็ไปตามเรื่องราวที่ดีๆ โครงการต่างๆ ของกอรมนทั่วประเทศเลยนะจ๊ะ
ในรายการกอรมนเป็นที่พึ่งของประชาชนในทุกโอกาสพบกันในวันเสาร์และวันอาทิตย์ 4 โมง 5 นาทีถึง 4 โมง 15 นาทีทางทบ 5 HD1 กฎหมายเลข 1
Welcome back to Weekly News Thailand. The Prime Minister says payments to the elderly and disabled will begin as of September 22nd, saying he has ordered the process to be on time many times now. General Prayut Chan-o-cha, Prime Minister and Minister for Defense, was talking about welfare payments for both the elderly and the disabled. He said he has brought up the matter many times, and he heard rumors that the payments would not be made because the government didn't have enough funds. But this was not true. The project had been brought down by the payment and registration system, but he has ordered authorities to speed up the process to be ready by September the 22nd. He said the government was now rushing to resolve a number of issues such as budget disbursement. He reminded everybody that the country was under extraordinary circumstances and this may cause some obstacles to implementation of the plan, but the government was determined to do what was best for the people.
The Deputy Prime Minister says he supports the landscape development along the Chao Phraya River, Tha Tien, Tha Chang in the Wang Lang area for the safety of the general public and preservation of the area. General Prawit Wongsuwan, the Deputy Prime Minister, chaired a meeting of the Ratanakosin and Old City Conservation and Development Committee. The committee is looking at Tha Tien and Tha Chang piers in the Ratanakosin area to promote safety for citizens and tourists, as well as promoting water travel to connect by car and train. The meeting said the renovations would enhance the area for tourism and stay in harmony with the area. The meeting also approved the construction of a new building to be part of the Treasury Department Coin Museum, which is located in an important historical area. The new building will be a learning center and will promote cultural tourism in the Ratanakosin area. It also approved a master plan for the conservation development of 4 old cities in Chanthaburi, Sturn, Lopburi, and Buriram. The plan aims to maintain each area's cultural heritage.
The Prime Minister is preparing a new round of stimulus measures such as soft loans to help both large and small businesses, as well as finding jobs for new graduates, and he stresses public health and the economy must go hand in hand. General Prayut Chan-o-cha, Prime Minister and Minister of Defense, chaired a meeting of the Center for COVID-19 Situation Administration. The meeting considered several important issues to help people during COVID-19 crisis. This included soft loans for large and small businesses and hiring new graduates who have yet to find jobs. There was still money left over in budgets from the Ministry of Labor for local governments to revitalize their local economies. He said the government had to use the budget carefully and ensure measures were appropriate. In tourism, the focus is still on domestic travelers and there has been some recovery, but not enough to replace foreign tourists. Danusha Pitayanan, Deputy Secretary General of the National Economic and Social Development Council, said the Council agreed in principle on the new spending stimulus measures. It would help reduce the cost of living for people, and the target was people 18 years and over. As for the way to register and receive stimulus funds, that job has been given to the Fiscal Policy Office to operate. The target is not more than 50 million people, to which the government will pay 3,000 baht each for a period of 3 months to spend on consumer products. Initial spending is set at 100 to 250 baht per day, and eligible people can spend the money at registered shops, convenience stores, and department stores. For shopping, the buyer will pay 50% and the government will pay 50%. The government will use funds from a loan amounting to 45 billion baht, and in the end will create a cash flow 9 billion baht. The project is expected to be implemented in October. In addition, the Center for Educational Services has approved funds for new graduates from the last academic year, targeting 260,000 students for a period of 12 months starting next month. The state will pay up to 50% of wages for any employee who hires graduates. The money will come from a budget of 2.3 billion baht. The government will pay not more than 7,500 per bachelor degree, 5,750 baht per vocational level degree, and 4,700 baht for those with a vocational certificate. The conditions are that employers cannot reduce employees by more than 15%. An agreement must be signed between the employee, employers, and Ministry of Labor. This is to ensure no older employees are fired to make way for new graduates. The project will be presented to Cabinet for approval.
And now we're in the final part of Weekly News Thailand. Let's see what Akshem has for today's news.
A pheasant that has not been seen in 50 years has been spotted. Its name is the crested fireback, and it was photographed in the Prince of Krom Luang Chumphon Sanctuary Wildlife Park. Ornithologists have traveled to Intanin Mountain on the Thai-Myanmar border to the Prince of Krom Luang Chumphon Park in Hongcharoen Sub-District, Thasat District, Chumphon Province. They're photographing and collecting information on the crested fireback, a protected animal under the Wildlife Conservation and Protection Act. This is the first time in many long decades the pheasant has been photographed. It was seen searching for food in the foothills of Intanin about a month ago. This particular peasant is about 2 years old and weighs approximately 2 kilograms. It has a crest on its head, feathers on its neck. Its chest and upper back are iridescent blue-green. The lower parts of its back are reddish-brown, while the feathers under its belly are blackish-brown with white edges. The crested fireback originated from the south of Thailand and has been seen throughout Malaysia, Borneo, and Sumatra. It's found in lowland forests in the south of Thailand, and normally this pheasant looks for food in dense forests. That is why it hasn't been spotted in such a long time. When the pheasant appeared in the area, ornithologists from all across Thailand rushed over to see such a rare sight. I've been Thanachot Piamlap Thanaboon, and I'll see you in the next week.
And that's all for Weekly News Thailand today. Thank you for watching us and see you again next Sunday. สวัสดีค่ะ
สวัสดีค่ะ